Welcome back. The funeral service of Prince Philip was scaled down to only 30 attendees, including Queen Elizabeth and the Duke's 4 children. The service has concluded and was held at St George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. Our correspondent Benji Hire is following this for us and joins us now with the latest. Benji, thanks for your time. So Buckingham Palace had appealed to the public prior to today's proceedings not to gather outside the gates of Windsor Castle or at other royal residences in keeping with COVID-19 health guidelines. Did the public heed that call?
Yeah, that's right. People encouraged to stay away from Windsor Castle behind me. And most of that message was heeded throughout the day, given the fact that much of the activity was actually within the confines of the castle itself. That's not to say that people didn't come to pay their respects, and more generally, people just coming to enjoy the town of Windsor. It's a beautiful day, as you might see here, and the coronavirus restrictions, while still in place, have been eased as to allow people to enjoy outside hospitality and non-essential retail. So there was for the most part, this was a ceremony, a small private ceremony within Windsor Castle itself, a strong police presence, just politely encouraging people to move along, and lots of stewards as well, making sure that that was facilitated. And the other people here, making up the streets of Windsor, the media, a big media presence throughout the day, this event being televised and shown around the world to ensure that people didn't feel that they had to try to go inside and see what was happening.
Prince Philip had indicated he did not want a sermon to form part of the proceedings. Instead, that time was used to pay tribute to a life of service. Tell us a little bit more about what was said about the Prince and his life.
That's right, indeed. Much of the funeral proceedings going along the wishes of the Prince himself. In fact, it had the fingerprints of Prince Philip all over it, according to the head of the UK's armed forces, who says that this ceremony was a celebration of a life that was well lived and showed how the longest-serving British consort in history loved and respected the military. There was a 4-piece choir, which was quite a poignant and sobering thing to see. And also, during the service itself, the Archbishop of Canterbury spoke to the Prince's unwavering dedication. The Dean of Windsor also paying tribute to his loyalty to the Queen, his courage, his fortitude, his faith, his kindness, his humour and his humanity as well. And so, whilst it was only a small private affair due to those coronavirus restrictions, 30 people allowed to attend. The monarch, her sons and daughters, Prince Harry, Prince William as well, and some other close members of the family. It was still, as I mentioned, a very poignant affair, and people on the streets outside of Windsor recognising that, observing the minute's silence in the time before. And whilst it was private and small, as I mentioned, there was nonetheless a big military presence. 700 members of the military here, and as part of that procession beforehand, Prince Philip taken on that Land Rover that he helped design himself and painted green in the colour of the military.
Benji, we don't want to detract from the dignity of the occasion, but of course we can't discuss the royal family without discussing the ongoing rift between Prince Harry and his brother and father. Were there any signs of tension amongst the group taking part in today's proceedings?
Yeah, much of the attention was, of course, on the Queen, sitting somberly by herself, which was a very striking image. But that's not to say there wasn't a few eyes on Prince Harry, who'd flown over from the United States to attend his grandfather's funeral without his wife, Meghan Markle, who's pregnant. And this is all in light of that explosive interview they gave to Oprah Winfrey, with massive revelations about the tensions that existed between Harry and other members of the royal household. Harry and William, who hadn't seen each other in person for about a year, did not stand side by side in that procession, but they were seen talking to each other after the ceremony, and maybe this could be an opportunity to bridge some of those divides and create a bit of unity between a household that has gone through a very turbulent couple of years.
Benji, also notable the attendance of 3 members of Prince Philip's family. Tell us about their role today.
Yes, only a small gathering, as I say, at the funeral itself, 30 people, and that included the Queen and her sons and daughters and Prince Harry and William. There were only a couple of others, members of the family and close friends as well. The Queen saying it was very difficult to try to decide who was going to attend, and this final list was brought out by her a couple of days ago. It should be noted that everyone was present who you kind of be expected. All those close family members, including Harry, were present at the funeral, so no major omissions. But this is a hall that's normally used to accommodating 800 people. It was here that Prince Harry and Meghan had their wedding, I should say, a couple of years ago. And so to see it with only 30 people, those close members of the family, was quite a memorable image. And kind of for that silence to fill that enormous hall was something that people will definitely take away from this unique and special ceremony.
And no doubt the Prince leaving a very distinct void in the royal family. Thank you very much, Benji Hire, our UK correspondent, bringing us news of the funeral of the late Prince Philip.